What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Friends of Five, brought to you by 5 Reasons Sports Network. Today, we got a great episode for you. Right before we get to that episode, make sure you get onto our YouTube, subscribe to the page, turn on those notifications. We got a lot of stuff that you guys want to hear. We're always the first on top of everything. Get onto our website, buy some of those shirts, and follow us on YouTube. And one more thing. Make sure you support us by supporting our sponsor, Manscaped. All right, guys, we got a great code for you. Support our Friends of Five shirt by Manscaped, who is the best men's below the waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. You can get 20% off and free shipping with the code 5RSN. That's 5 reasons at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with the free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code 5RSN. So once again, my name is Matthew Perdomo.
Alrighty, I'm Ryan Lasner, LasnerSport, and we have a very important guest, our head man, Ethan J. Skolnick. How you doing today, man?
Good. I've also got our other sponsor, Biscayne Bay Brew. Make sure that you're always selling, man. You're always selling. Big face.
But let's not use both sponsors at the same time, guys.
Oh,
all right?
I'm sorry, we can't do that. Well,
no, it's not that. It's not that. I'm saying don't drink and shave the jewels at the same time.
Well, I have 15 Manscaped boxes here, which you gave me, which I've been distributing. So I just gave one to Alfredo of 3 yards per carry. He's sending one to England to Simon, so there's one going across the pond, and I've got others here that others can pick up. So I certainly don't need 15 of them. So I've got one. But yeah, good to be with you guys. Obviously, you can get this shirt. This is our Tyler Hero shirt on the site.
Beautiful shirt.
And just a little bit of a sneak preview. There's been people asking for a Goran Dragic shirt, and I think we may have something by the end of the day. So
nice.
Just throwing that stuff out there.
Okay, something dragon related probably.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
yes, I would assume.
Right. All right, so Ethan, seems like the 76ers are getting swept right now.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But as far as the Miami Heat are doing so far in the playoffs, who have you been most impressed with throughout these 3 games so far?
I was gonna say Houston until the loss yesterday. I thought the Rockets have.
Oh no, I'm sorry. What I meant to say is, who on the Miami Heat have you been most impressed with through the 3 games?
Well, we did this on post game last night on Floor Yours, and we graded everybody. And I will say that the mean grade between us, the highest one was for Goran. So okay. I think that you can give very high grades to Butler and to Adebayo. Also, I know people look at the scoring numbers with Bam, but he's easily got the highest plus minus on the team so far through 3 games. When he has not been on the floor, they've been very average. When he has been on the floor, they've been terrific. So I think you've got to look at him. Obviously, Duncan has had 2 games where he's been pretty big. Tyler's had 2 games where he's been pretty big. I mean, I think Jay and Iguodala have done exactly what were brought in to do. Right. So I think for the most part, DJJ's not been good, but it's a little hard to evaluate because he had the hard fall, and then he's kind of playing as a single big in some lineups. It's not really fair. But I think pretty much everybody else, I mean, Olynyk rebounded yesterday, which is not something he typically does. Everybody else has been pretty good. But I think if you're just to say the one guy who has really jumped off the page has been Dragic. And, Dragic being a starter and the way he's accepted that role, and he really didn't want to go back to being a starter. Goran gets comfortable with something. He doesn't really like to change it. And there was the whole change to bring him off the bench, and so he adjusted to that. And then, as we're watching Brett Brown probably walk off the court as Sixers coach for the last time, he had to adjust to that. And then, now all of a sudden he's a starter, but he's the guy that Jimmy trusts, and he's the guy that Eric trusts. And he's been tremendous. I mean, his 3-point shooting. Eric was talking today. I just got off a call. The Heat had their calls, and Spoelstra was talking about the 2000, I think it was 15-16 playoffs. So 16, the first round against Charlotte.
Right.
They went under every screen against him and dared him to shoot. And he was talking about how he hit a couple of off the dribble jumpers, but now he's become so good at both catch and shoot and off the dribble. He's basically a 40% 3-point shooter on pretty high volume. So it's been impressive. And yes, by the broom at Sedano. We're having Sedano on 5 on the floor tonight, by the way. I am going to get him to say I'd rather be the Sixers. But yeah, that's I think it's Goran first. And then obviously, look, Jimmy's aggression, Jimmy's defense, Jimmy's personality, taking on the big challenges, filling all the holes for them, and then Bam's just overall presence. their three best players, and they are their three best players, have been what you needed them to be in this postseason.
Nice.
Tomorrow we're going to try to go for the sweep. So how important is it to get the sweep? Like, is that extra day off going to be really important for us, if we're going to play the Bucks?
Well, you get a 2-day jump on Milwaukee at the very
Okay.
least, right? Because, I mean, they're 2-1, and I'm assuming they're going to close it in 5. I think they've figured out their issue with Orlando is they were playing this drop scheme that allowed Vucevic to kind of tear them apart because he's very good as a center. Brook Lopez drops all the way back. He protects the rim. And so, essentially, Vucevic killed him with it in Game 1, but they've made some adjustments to it. Middleton is still playing like trash, but Bledsoe has been good. And so that has made up for it a little bit. I think they're going to close that thing out in 5. So if you're Miami, you want to finish it. You got a 2-day jump on Milwaukee. I'm sure the Bucks are already preparing for the Heat, but at least you can totally focus on it. I also think the thing that matters is if you can get up in this game, get Kendrick Nunn some minutes. Get Myers Leonard a few minutes. Get them a little bit of look in the – not that the playoffs are that different this year than the regular season. I mean, kind of the same. There's no fans. But you still want to get them a little bit more of a look in this situation. Get Kendrick to get some confidence going into round 2 because I do think, although he's not going to start, he averaged 15 on 45% shooting against Milwaukee in the 2 games before the break. So I do think he can be a factor for them. And so I think it would behoove them to get Kendrick comfortable because I think he's a player that they may be able to use.
Okay. With that said, do you think Sabonis, he came back to the bubble, he won't be there? Okay, so that's only
Woj has reported he came back for moral support, but he probably wouldn't play. And then remember, he's missed a ton of time. So even if he comes back, how effective is he going to be? I don't think this is about that. They took the Pacers' best shot, and I just don't think this Indiana team with Oladipo playing disinterested and Warren kind of being figured out to some degree by Miami to make him mortal at least.
Right.
I don't think that they can push through against Miami. You don't want to toy with them any longer than you have to.
Gotcha.
So like you said, Nunn, is he going to be a break in case of emergency, or is he going to be a vital part, for playing the Bucks?
Well, I think Eric only really wants to play 9. So right now, the 2 that are out of the mix are Kendrick and Myers. DJJ is kind of the 9th, and I think there's some matchups that don't make a lot of sense for him. And one of those matchups may be Milwaukee. I think you can use him in spots on Giannis, but he's not really strong enough to hang with Giannis. I think Jay Crowder is the better matchup there because of his physicality, and then Iguodala because of his intelligence defensively. So I don't really know that there's going to be a big role for what DJJ brings in that series. I think there are other series. I think the Toronto series there is. I don't know so much about this one. So I can see if Kendrick does something either in Game 4 or throughout the week of practice that gives Eric more confidence in him that, all the things he's been dealing with, lack of confidence. He's had some personal issues I know about that I'm not going to talk about. And then obviously he had COVID. And you don't really know how that affects you even if you don't have symptoms. I mean, I had COVID. I had 2 days of a cold. I thought that was it. But to be honest, it's, I try to go to the gym 3 times a week. And to be honest, I haven't had my usual wind for about a month. And so, I'm not a high-level athlete. He is. But He also has to get to a higher place than I do. And maybe it's affected him just a little bit. And with a high-level athlete affects you a little bit, it can mean a lot. So I don't know. I think I could see Kendrick Nunn being the 9th guy in the Bucks series. I could. I could see him getting in for DJJ. But Goran Dragic isn't coming out of the starting lineup. I mean, that is done. It's a question of can you play Hero and Nunn together in some spots? And we saw it in Summer League. So, I mean, maybe you could do it against the best team in the league. I don't know.
Right. And as you mentioned, so we're looking forward to round 2. It seems like the Bucks will be our challenger. Kendrick Perkins came out on ESPN and said the Bucks don't want to see those goons in Dade County or so.
And you think you're about to go mess with those goons from Dade County and Miami and Jay Crowder and Jimmy Butler and Andre Iguodala and Bam out of the Bayou, well coached by Eric Spoelstra? You crazy. And they don't want to see the Miami Heat second round. They better be lucky if they get past this round.
The Heat won't be favored in this series, but do you think they get favored in any games?
Well, it's different about being favored because you don't have 2 at home.
Right.
So I don't know that they'll be favored in any games. I think that Milwaukee will be, 5 to 6 point favorites in most of the games. I don't think it'll be like Milwaukee by 8 to 10, like it would be if they had home court or something like that. But I think that there's a perception. Look, Milwaukee's earned it. They were the best team in the league during the regular season, not just the East. They were the best team in the league, and by a pretty wide margin, actually. If you look beneath the surface at their numbers compared to the Lakers, Clippers, and Toronto, I don't think they're the best team in the league now. I think Toronto is.
Okay.
But I've talked a lot on Five on the Floor about why I thought that would happen. Milwaukee had great momentum that got broken. They also have a lot of older players that take a longer period of time to kind of work their way back in. And I also think that the pressure of the playoffs, and we've seen it get to guys like Paul George and Tobias Harris, certain types of personalities, I think Chris Middleton has that personality. It's not the Jimmy Butler personality. He's a little more passive. I don't think he's a true number 2 on a championship team. I think he's a number 3. Just like I thought Eddie Jones was a number 3. Just like I thought Jamal Mashburn was a number 3. There are certain guys that are really good players, but they don't have that thing. And Jimmy has that thing, okay? This guy has that thing. He's not there yet as a player, but he has that thing. I think Goran has it too. I think we've seen him develop it. Certain guys that have it, certain guys who don't. The guys who don't, you phase out. That's simply how it goes. Kawhi has it, obviously. I don't think Chris Middleton has it. And I think ultimately that's going to be the thing that drives Giannis out of Milwaukee, because I don't think they're going to be able to get a player that's better than him to go there unless they throw all their assets to try to trade for someone who may not want to be there, like an Embiid. But I don't think they're going to get a free agent. And remember, the real reason LeBron left Cleveland, the first time to come to Miami, was that he could not get Chris Bosh to come, and they could not get Amari Stoudemire to come. He could not get a real number 2 other than Mo Williams or old Shaq or Zdrunas Ilgauskas. And ultimately, he went to Miami. And I think Giannis ultimately is going to go to Miami, Toronto, or Golden State.
Okay, very nice.
So that's where I am.
So this is a 2-part question. Have we seen the best version of the Heat yet? And if not, like, what is it that they need to do to be that best version? And I don't mean like fake, like, oh, Nunn and Hero have to be better defenders, because I don't think they're ever going to get to that point during this playoff season yet. But like, realistically, have we seen the best of them? And if not, what do they need to do to be the best?
We haven't seen the best of them for 48 minutes. We've seen the best of them for half. We saw the best of them in that half against Milwaukee. We saw the best of them in that half yesterday against Indiana. They haven't been able to sustain it. That's the thing. Now, the Milwaukee game is a bit of an anomaly because they didn't have Butler or Dragic. So that first half really shouldn't have even happened. The game yesterday, to me, is more indicative. It's they take their foot off the gas a little bit, and they're not good enough yet defensively, because they do have players you can attack, whether it's Dragic or Robinson or Hero, and it was Nunn, or an Olynyk. I mean, they got 5 of them, okay? They have players you can attack defensively, so if they're not going full bore, they can be vulnerable to big runs. And so, and plus, I gave the third quarter a name that turned a quarter. I took that from Twitter, and it's my fault, according to Alf. I don't know. But I won't do that again. But yeah, I think we've seen it in spurts. I for a half. I don't think we've seen it for a full game. Will they get there? It's hard to get there in the playoffs. I don't know that we're going to see. And what I've always said about this Heat team is, as impressive as they are and as much fun as they are, this is the floor for this group. This is the floor. It's not the ceiling. They will be better next year. They will be, just by growth of their young players, additions they can make, and they will be better than that the year after.
Nice. So the NBA lottery happened, came and went, and then we saw the Knicks get the 8th pick. What was your initial reaction quickly on that one? And then I want to also ask, what are your thoughts on the Nets next year? Because they're going to get Kyrie and KD back. And I think the East now, Miami kind of goes down a little bit in the East as far as standings wise. What do you think?
Well, I don't think they go down. I look, my take on the lottery is the West always wins those things, it seems, lately, and their top 2 picks go out West. So the West is going to be a bloodbath, because Golden State's going to be right back to being a top 4 seed.
Right.
Because even if they don't make the pick, they're going to package the pick, and probably with Wiggins, and they're going to get another star. And so that was my first take. And I think Minnesota.
Poor Wiggins.
Poor Wiggins. And I think Minnesota, they have, obviously they can get good quickly, but it still might not get them to 8 in the West, because I don't think Towns and Russell are going to defend it all. So that's tough. As far as where the Heat go, yes, Brooklyn's going to be really good next year. We knew that. I'm not a Kyrie fan. Just having covered it, I'm just not a Kyrie fan for what he does to a team. But obviously, if Durant's healthy, he's a top 3 player in the NBA. And so, and they have a lot of assets. Now they got to decide, do they re-sign Joe Harris? Do they trade Dinwiddie, or can he play with and Vert, or can they play with Kyrie? That's 3 guys who need the ball in the backcourt. I think they should re-sign Joe Harris because I think he fits. But then, up front, I like some of the players they have up front. I think some of their young guys really showed out. It's a great job. I think there's a lot of NBA coaches who are going to want that job. I think Jacques Vaughn did a good job, but I don't think he's going to be considered a big enough name. They're a big threat. You look at the Eastern Conference going forward, to me, the 4 teams are Boston, Toronto, because I don't know what's going to happen with Milwaukee. So I would say Boston, Toronto, Brooklyn, and Miami. I think those Boston, Miami, Brooklyn, Toronto. Those are the 4. Those are the 4 organizations that are best set up.
So Philly, they're out, right? They've got to do something to turn this around in the offseason. I think their 2 biggest needs are getting Al Horford out of there because they're just not working between him and Embiid, and finding a real point guard. I suggested Drew Holiday to the 76ers. If they could trade Al Horford out for Drew Holiday, I don't know what else they needed to do to, incentivize that. Would that work? Or what's another trade that you think that would make it better right away?
Well, look, first thing, Elton Brand's not going to be the one making that decision. Okay. So, I've gotten some information. There, probably somebody everybody's heard of is probably going to be their GM. Okay. And he's prominent. So that person's going to be given the opportunity to sculpt this thing. I just, Drew Holiday makes a lot of sense. There are a lot of guys that make sense for them. I don't know what Horford's value is, though. I don't think this is just the case. I know Anna Horford put on Twitter about how much better her husband plays when he's not with Embiid. But it's not just that. Al's not the same guy, and Al needs to be in kind of a perfect situation for it to work now. I mean, I don't know if playing in New Orleans is that situation. I don't know if that would really be attractive. I mean, if New Orleans is looking for players who are on Zion's timeline. Okay. All right. So if you're going to trade Drew Holiday, it's not going to be for Al Horford. Okay. And they have a big decision to make on Brandon Ingram. I think they're kind of stuck. I think they're going to have to attach an asset. Tybal is a really attractive asset, a young defender with upside. I mean, I think a team's going to ask for him. I think that, they've missed on so many picks like Zaire Smith and others that it makes it kind of challenging. But I do think that you're looking at a situation where it's not a 1-year fix there. It's just not. And I'm just curious, whoever comes in is going to have to get on the same page with Embiid and Simmons right away and decide, can I win with these 2 guys together? Or do I have to move one of them and kind of reshape this thing? So I don't think they're in great position. You're never going anywhere when you're paying a guy who's a B-plus player like a max player. And they've done that now. They have 2 of them. And I'm not even sure Al Horford is B-plus at this stage. Tobias is, but I'm not even sure that Al Horford is B-plus.
All right. Well, I know you got to get out of here. I'll just do one more quick question. It will just be simple. You like the Raptors, and who do you like in the West?
Clippers. We'll see what happens today, but I like the Clippers. Lakers don't have enough shooting. I don't trust their guards, even with Rondo back, especially with Rondo back. So no, I like Toronto to win the championship over the Clippers. That's where I'm at.
All right. My last question. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for it, but I'm not a big Kyle Lowry fan, and I know that Jimmy loves him. I know that you guys on 5 on the Floor talk about him all the time because he would be a great fit, and you guys kind of love him too. In 30 seconds, convince me why I should love Kyle Lowry as well.
Because he's great on the point of attack. He's a tough son of a bitch. He shares Jimmy's mindset. And over the course of time, although he's had some bad playoff series, he's come through it to the other side. And you guys love that heat culture crap. And he's very heat culture at this stage of his career. And he just wants rings. So that's my pitch for him. But is he going to be available? Depends on what they do with Van Vliet, what they do with Ibaka, what they do with Gasol.
All right, well, everybody, that was Ethan J. Skolnick from 5 on the Floor. He is, some people like to call him daddy of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I don't call him that.
That's my cue to leave.
Later. All right.
that was pretty good. I'm glad Ethan was able to jump on, considering the interview just happened with overall with the Heat players, and then also with the Sixers losing. I feel like there's a lot of news to be shot out, but overall we learned a lot. What do you think?
Yeah, man, definitely. I mean, there's definitely a lot going on. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Did you hear that? The Luka Doncic, he might play today, so that might make it more a better series, because I think once they lost Luka Doncic, it was Clippers were gonna have an easy ride.
Everybody seemed to like the Mavericks just after like the first half of the first game, and I didn't believe that they didn't have a shot, just because what Kawhi Leonard can do. Him in the fourth quarter, you don't want to mess with him. He's done it to the Heat over and over. I mean, he has the finals pedigree. It's cute what the Mavericks are doing, but I think 5 games, 6 games max, but definitely 5 games is what it looks like.
Yeah, I thought that they did give him some trouble because, so my reasoning for them getting trouble was because Paul George and Kawhi Leonard still don't have a lot of chemistry together. So I think if the weakest point for the Clippers was going to be in the beginning of the playoffs, and so I thought that that's why that they would have the best chance. And the Mavs are a really good team. They're obviously not the best team in the West, but they are a good team. I do think that Luka gives a lot of teams problems, and Porzingis too when he has a great game.
Yeah. Hey, so Ethan didn't really answer my question, but what was your reaction when the Knicks had the 8th pick when you found out?
Honestly, from what I've been reading and from what I've been seeing, this is a weak draft, right? Like probably the weakest draft in years. Right. I don't think that I thought it was funny that the Knicks are down, now they're 8th. But at the same time, I was like, if you're not 1, 2, or 3, you probably weren't going to get anything other than a project. I don't know if the Knicks are looking for a project at this point. I think that they were trying to look for a trade asset.
Well, they want LaMelo, ball.
Yeah, but I'm saying if they didn't get 1, 2, or 3, they were probably going to trade that pick, right? Because I don't think they can afford another project. I don't think the Knicks fans are looking for a promise in, hey, in 2-3 years we're going to be competitive again. I think it's been way overdue for you guys to be competitive.
And I just saw now that they're going to be going really hard after Donovan Mitchell. I know a lot of teams will too, but they don't want to give up Barrett. I don't know if they have the firepower to actually get a Donovan Mitchell, or if Utah is willing to let him go.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. I would have to look at what they have. I think the best piece they have are RJ Barrett, and then I forgot the other guy who
Kevin Knox.
Kevin Knox. He's okay. They have a center or power forward. I forgot his name. He was with the Clippers last year.
Marcus Morris.
No, not Marcus Morris. He got traded.
Oh,
they have Wayne Ellington. No, not Wayne Ellington. Wayne Ellington is not the guy.
Hey, so what do you think? We think the Heat are gonna we're gonna get the sweep in, right? I mean, there's no way.
I would hope so. I think yesterday was probably like the biggest letdown for the team. Oh, the guy I was thinking was Julius Randle. Right, he's actually pretty good. But yeah, I think the Heat are gonna get the sweep. I think yesterday has to have been like the most heartbreaking thing if you're a Pacers team. Like, wow, they're destroying us in the first half. Then you get your hopes up that we might have a chance to, to steal one away, and then it doesn't happen. It's just like there's nothing we can do. And I love how they float, Sabonis, like, hey, he might, play. But I mean, we all know he can't really play. And if he does play, it's going to be limited.
Right. Like Ethan said, he's not in full shape or so, or hasn't been really working with the team. But TJ Warren had an opportunity, right, to finish the game. Again, they were within 2 points, and he had a shot that just didn't work out. He's been kind of disappointing. I expected to see more out of him this series. And then I guess Brogdon looks to be the most impressive player on their team. Oladipo, not so much. I have a question. Do you based on how Oladipo is performing this series, is he somebody that the Heat should be giving up too much for? I feel like he can only give you. I don't know.
I was wondering that too, right? Why should we give up so much? And we're gonna give him, because he's probably looking for a max, right? Exactly. So we're gonna give him all this. The Pacers all this, plus we're gonna give him a max. I don't even know if at this point he is considered a max player. I wouldn't say I'm not sure what the numbers are, so I don't know what a max makes right now. What is it, like 35 a year? I don't even know if he's worth 30 a year, and that's I'm just trying to be honest. Maybe in the 28 mil range, he's probably worth that still, because but we haven't seen him be a max player. But he is coming off like a bad injury, and it does take people a long time. But maybe this is a blessing in disguise, Hey, because maybe he's going to demand a trade, and it's, hey, we're not going to demand a trade because we haven't seen anything out of you yet, So maybe we don't. So for the Heat, this might be like, okay, we can not get him now. We can wait for Giannis, because if not, we were going to have to get him, and then we couldn't afford Giannis.
Right, but I feel like also like Indiana's going to throw out some sort of money at him. Not like next year, the year. He has one more year in his contract, so they might try to extend him, and he might be smart enough to take it, whatever it may be, even if it's $80 million, or I know they probably look for $100 million is how much players usually want. So he might just take the money grab, and then now be in a similar situation that Bradley Beal's in, where they took the money, and it's harder to trade them. But as you mentioned, he could force a trade out. He's an Indiana product. He went to college in Indiana, so I feel like he's not going to burn Indiana too much, but he's not worth $30 million, like you said.
Yeah, I just also think that like you also got to remember that the Pacers GM is a mall owner, and like the malls have probably been the worst business during this whole pandemic. Do you want to risk giving this guy a max or an extension if he doesn't even want to be there? If he's going to force you to leave, force his hand for you to leave, if you know that he's not going to get any better, if you have any like belief that he might not ever get to that 2017 2018 year, there's a lot, and I hope that we don't have to decide on it. Honestly, I'm hoping that the Pacers have to decide on it, and then the market decides for us what we have to give him.
Yeah. Hey, so does anybody have any questions? We'll stay on for a few minutes longer, see if anybody has any questions that you want us to answer, whether it's about 5 Reasons Sports, the Miami Heat, Miami Marlins, Tua, your favorite team. If you want to stump us, if you have any questions you think we might not know, try to stump us.
There's a lot of stuff that I wouldn't know, to be honest.
That's fine. We're a team here. We'll take down any questions. But yeah, so it seems like it's going to be the Heat Bucks. Miami steals maybe 2 games for them. It's not that realistic unless someone gets injured on the Bucks, like a big player. Oh, what we got here?
Magic Johnson of Philly.
I'm trying to see how that makes sense.
Yeah, honestly, I really do believe that we can steal 2 games from if I'm watching the Heat, I think for sure we're gonna have 1 game, and if I'm being honest, I think we're gonna have a good win, like not like a down to the buzzer beater. I think that we have a good opportunity to get a 10-point win from them. I think we also have an opportunity to get a buzzer beater or like a overtime win from them. Now, to get 2 more wins to advance, that's going to be tough. I do think that we have a better coach. Not that the Bucks coach is bad. I just think that Eric Spoelstra has shown to be more willing to change schemes. As far as the Bucks, their live or die letting other teams shoot the 3. Right. I mean, we can be wrong, right? Like he could be holding some cards in his hand for us, because they thought maybe just in case we play the Heat, we're never gonna, let's not show our hand in the regular season.
Right. Well, I mean, in my case, for the Bucks to drop a few games, like I said, it's got to be an injury. If Middleton maybe goes down, you don't pray for an injury, but you would need lights out games from Hero, which he's capable of, Duncan, which he's capable of, and Goran. There's just a reason the Bucks are the number 1 seed. So, who knows? Maybe something will happen in the Magic series with the Bucks that might support what the Heat are trying to do. But that would be so cool if the Heat made the Eastern Finals. And, it feels like the first year with the core together.
Yeah, it would be cool, right? But I think that in order for that to happen, we have to hit on all cylinders. And I think right now one of our cylinders are down and none. Although, like, he has so many holes to his game, right. I do think that he gives I think Kendrick Nunn is probably our best mid-range shooter, or he can create his best. He can create the most mid-range shots. Like Jimmy can, but at times he can't. He does a lot of fadeaways, or turnaround fadeaways. I think that Kendrick Nunn doesn't even do those because he doesn't have to. He's more quicker. So he can break it down a little bit more. I do think we're going to end up needing him at some point. and I hope that he's going to be ready when his numbers call to him. I hope he's not hurt, like his confidence isn't hurt by this.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason he came down, was third place in the Rookie of the Year. He has talent. When he's hitting his shots, when he's confident, he's just as good as any other rookie. But he has something to prove, and he's Miami's best trade chip. So you kind of want Miami to put him out there. Ethan mentioned that he probably should get some minutes in Game 4. But Kendrick Nunn, yeah, he's a wild card. It seems like everybody else is playing well. I really like, Kelly Olynyk has been doing. I don't know if he's going to be able to keep it up, but I feel like he just is a solid NBA player. He's definitely
his defense sometimes. I hate Kelly's defense. This guy falls. He does a lot of those, fake pumps, right? And he draws so many people. But why does he fall for it so hard on the other side? Because he is always in the air. Like, if you ever watch Kelly Olynyk on defense, his feet are always in the air. He's always falling for the fake out. I'm like, oh, my God, dude. This is your move. How are you going to fall for your own move?
I don't know.
It's very frustrating, man. But, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens, right? Like, this is what we asked for. This is what we wanted, from the Heat, and we're actually getting it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like you mentioned, what we got? Thoughts on Celtics versus Raptors. Ethan likes the Raptors. I know Ethan's not say all do all, but there's a reason he likes them. They didn't win the championship last year. There's no Kawhi, but they are really impressive. And without Gordon Hayward, it's not the full Celtics team. I feel like injuries are most important when durability and depth is what you need in the playoffs. What do you think, Matt?
I'm actually gonna go. I think this is gonna be closer to a 7-game series than a lot of other people believe. I like Jason Tatum so much. I love Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker. I think that's gonna give a lot of people problems. Like Daniel Thie is. He's gonna give people problems. They're so switchable. They have so many attack options. Yeah, the Raptors are a great defensive team, but I mean, we beat them twice, and for a reason, right? Like, if you overshoot them, you can beat them. And I think the Celtics have that firepower to beat them, and they have enough defense to, hold them off. So I honestly, I would be surprised if this doesn't at least even go to a 6-game series. Like, if it's not at least a 6-game series, I'm going to be a little disappointed.
Right. I was going to ask you, I know you have a man crush on Kendrick Nunn. But who would you say is your favorite player on the Miami Heat besides Kendrick Nunn?
I don't have a man crush on Kendrick Nunn.
No, but who's your favorite player on the Miami Heat right now?
My favorite player on the Miami Heat would have to be – I think I've been a big fan of Bam. Since I was watching him at Kentucky and I loved him. And then when we got him, I was like, oh, cool. He's going to be a good, bench player. I honestly thought he was just going to be a bench player. Right. And I remember watching his first game. It was the first game that I actually went to for the Heat that year. And I love that guy. He came off the bench, so much energy. I think Bam is my favorite player. He does leave something to be desired in the offensive side. But like he told – everybody, and like Eric's supposed to told everybody, we can shove our opinions up our ass. That's the only thing that I'm always wishing from Bam, because I know he has it in him, right? Like, you see, he's a strong guy. Right. And there are people that are, like 6 inches to almost a foot taller than him, and he can bully. I mean, we saw him bully Rudy Gobert one day, right? And that was super fun to watch. So he's got it in him. I wish he was a little bit better. I just wish that he would take more of the shots he's given. Like those three-pointers. He's open a lot of the time. They let him open. And we've seen him hit those shots. That's how he won in the All-Star contest. He hit a three-pointer against, I think it was Sabonis.
Right.
So he's got it in him. His mid-range, I like that he takes a shot, and he's always going to take the shot. I think they drilled it in him, take the shot. He's not a very good, mid-range shooter, but is going to keep the defense on it. So I think Bam is my favorite. Other than that, I think he's a clear favorite for me. How about you?
My favorite player, I was a huge Hassan Whiteside fan. And I know it sounds silly, but I liked him because he filled in the box scores. Yes, he looked for his personal numbers, but he was getting a double-double every game, and there wasn't much to root for at that time. But I really like Duncan Robinson for that same reason, where he's stat stuffing. he's looking in the record books. He's similar to like a Steph Curry, a Klay Thompson. He's gonna probably finish the year, or he did already, but like as a top ever, field goal percentage for three. I think Doug Robinson, where he can be is just so exciting. I don't think he'll ever be an all-star for some reason, but he has the talent, and he's also been taking it to the hole too. So pretty impressive. And of course, Tyler Hero. Just the both of them, they could be a Klay and Curry, style. They're just a younger, cheaper version of them, it seems like.
So would you be butthurt if they traded Duncan Robinson away?
I don't see it's even possible.
No, you don't think it's possible?
He's definitely untradeable. I think also Hero's untradeable. They'd rather not break up that core.
So you wouldn't trade like a Duncan Robinson and a Hero for Bradley Beal?
Well, then who's going to be your snipe 3-point? You're going to get Kyle Korver after retirement or something? Or?
I'm just saying, like, what if they did it? Like, would you be hurt?
Well, I guess Donovan Mitchell is a better name, but I would trade Donovan Mitchell for Hero.
And Robinson?
No, you got to keep Robinson, man. Just because you have no idea what he can become, and just in 1 year he's amassed. The record books, it's extremely unique, man.
I do think that there are I know that we like to say that there are players that are untradeable on this Heat team, right. But I will promise anybody, I think there's realistically, I think there's only one realistically untradeable person,
right,
or two, and that's Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. I think everybody else, there is an asking price. That might be the highest asking price, unfair value, But I do think that there are certain players that people are tradable. I mean, Paul George, they might be willing to trade some things. Kawhi Leonard, like there's some pieces out there in the world that Giannis. You wouldn't trade a Duncan Robinson for a Giannis?
Well, I don't think you can trade for Giannis. He's there. He's going to play it out. So it would have to be free agency. But realistically, yeah, you give up an MVP for basically not even an all-star player. You got to. If anybody has any questions, send them in. We're probably going to finish up. If not, but we appreciate everybody that's been watching. This is the Friends of Five. We're part of the Five Reasons Sports channel. We have Matthew Perdomo, myself, Ryan Lasner. We love the fact that you guys are listening. Pretty awesome. And we're also on YouTube. You could check our older videos. We had Jason Jackson. We had Will Manso. We had Clay Ferrero. We had, Lakers beat writers, Pelicans beat writers. If there's any feedback, we love it. So we appreciate you guys and ladies. And I guess we some comments coming in.
So let's do this. Let's do our last one, right?
All right.
1 through 5. Let's rank our target list. Okay, so I'll let you say. Let's go 1. I'll say 1. Or no, you say 1. I'll say 2. You say 3. I'll say 4, and then you say 5. And then we'll see if we agree.
All right.
So what would you say is 1?
1 is Giannis because he's going to change it.
I would easily agree with you there. 2, I would say. I would argue 2 for us would be Bradley Beal.
Bradley Beal, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Then Donovan Mitchell.
3, Donovan Mitchell.
Then Oladipo. I
don't even think Oladipo's number 4. I would say Justin Holiday has a real chance to be a number 4. Zach LaVine. I don't think Zach LaVine is number 4. I would say there's real. Justin Holiday's not hurt, right? Like, so you know what you're going to get out of him. He's a super.
You mean Drew Holiday or Justin Holiday?
Oh, Drew Holiday. My bad.
Okay, yeah. I was like,
Justin
yeah. I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, Drew Holiday, he's all-star. He's all-star talent. He's been there before.
Yeah, so I think Drew Holiday. I think that he might be a number 4. I don't know, and we know that Jimmy Butler likes Drew Holiday, so. I was about to revoke your Heat status. Why would you revoke my Heat status for not knowing a New Orleans Pelicans player? Damn.
Well, you were going to put him as your number 4 over Oladipo.
You know what?
But we knew we were talking about.
One last thing from me. These Holiday brothers have been very impressive.
Yes.
For the Pacers. They're solid, bench players. I think in some teams they could work as a starting lineup. Not together, but They're actually legit. I mean, Aaron Holiday was hitting some really good shots out there. Justin Holiday, same thing, some really good shots. So I wouldn't put it away from some teams looking for them next year.
All right, so we're sweeping, right? Tomorrow it'll be done.
Yeah, I think we have to sweep. I think it's beneficial for us to take a sweep.
We're bringing the brooms out. All right, guys. Well, thank you for having us. Peace out. Friends.
Make sure you get on our website, 5 Reasons Sports. We got some nice shirts. All right. Check out our IG apparel page. I don't have it up on here, but Ryan Lasner worked really hard on the IG apparel page where you can see all of the new shirts that we have. Right, Ryan?
Yes, sir. It's just 5 Reasons Apparel. We'll likely friend you, and you become a friend of ours. And you see all promotions, models, and everything that's coming up, like the new Goron shirt, which we're very excited about. I'm not sure what it's going to look like, but I'm pumped. I might need that.
Yep. And then follow us on our Twitter.
Yes.
Okay. Friends of 5. You can also follow our Twitter handles, Ryan Lasner at LasnerSport, and you can follow me at SimbaofSports. And then the last thing is to buy some stuff, man. Your balls need it. All right. Shave that bush. You want to celebrate at night with your lady, and you don't want to have a giant bush in the way. All right. So buy the lawnmower 3.0. They have a nice package. All right. It's the lawnmower. It's waterproof. Look, man, they save balls. All right. They got ball deodorant, ball toner. They got all this nice stuff that you're going to want to have. And if you use our code 5RSN, you get 20% off plus free shipping. So something that's like $80, you'll get it for like $60, $65. All right. So you want to get that. Other than that, I'm out. You got some last words, Ryan?
Just thank you, everybody. And we hope to see you again.
Later, guys.
All right.